Welcome back, everyone. Finally, we're back for another episode of the Brujajas Podcast. This is Carolina.
And I'm Kendall.
How are you doing? What's up? What's new?
Hey, girl. Hey, guys. We're back with another episode.
We survived the winter storm.
We survived the winter storm.
How was it?
Oh, my.
Tell us.
It's... Ooh, child. I had so many feelings, so many emotions, energy, anger. Just seeing our fellow Texans go through what we've gone through. And
it's really infuriating, honestly, what happened. And the effects, the aftermath of the storm, we're still seeing it a whole week later. We're still having people that are still without power, still without water, or have, had damage because of the plumbing issues, whatnot. Did y'all lose power at all?
So we were really lucky. We were really blessed. We were really lucky. Mm-hmm. We lost power like at 11 p.m. one night and then had it back at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Thank God.
And we only lost water during the time that we shut off the water because we did have one pipe burst outside. No. So really lucky. We got, so blessed, right?
Yeah.
And I'm super thankful for that because we didn't experience it the way most Houstonians or Texans experienced it, and we were not ready. We were not ready.
No, I don't think anyone was ready.
No, we were not ready.
We were not expecting this to happen.
We were not ready for single digits or teens. I've never in my life that I can remember lived through a storm like that in Houston. Like, yes, we've had snow every now and again, but to go through something like that, no.
It was too much.
Wow.
It put us in survival mode. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. It was kind of like, okay, you have to do this, make sure you have this and that and that. It was just like, I don't know, surreal. It felt like a movie. It felt like a novela. I was like, what's going on? Is this really my life right now? There's no power.
Did you guys lose power for how long?
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so we lost power Monday, or I guess it would have been, Monday around like 2 a.m. And I told Abel right away, I'm like, we can't stay here. We don't have groceries. How are we going to cook? We don't know how long the power is going to be out. It's freezing as freaking, a freezer outside. Like, we can't stay here. Yeah. He was like, well, where are we going to go? I'm like, dude, my mom lives 10 minutes away. I'm going to risk that drive because if we stay here, we might get stuck here for days without anything. And I finally got him to go along with it. Obviously, he doesn't want to go to somebody else's home, that's awkward. But thank God, we took the risk of driving over there. We took the cats. We took some basic essentials. And it was scary driving down and seeing a bunch of snow. I was like, what the freak? Yeah. There was like a couple inches of snow. It was so surreal.
Yeah.
The car wouldn't turn on because the engine's super cold. So we're like, fuck, like, what do we do? Like, we're stuck here.
We're not prepared. We don't know how to
survive in the snow. Texas is not ready for it.
Cold temperatures like that. Like, we've never had that kind of training. We weren't taught any of this in school. And we were just, very unprepared. But thank God, once we were at my mom's, she also didn't have power. She also didn't have water. But we were there with my brother, and I felt safe. I felt like, okay, we're going to be okay. Even though this is like a sucky situation, we're going to manage somehow. Yeah, bad situations tend to not seem so bad when you're in familia, right? Like, it's even though you didn't have power over there either, but it's like you're in familia, you're in the warmth of your family, your comfort. Like, it makes a shitty situation a little bit better. It does. A little bit more bearable. You have more support. You're not on your own. You're not like, oh my God, what do we, So,
I'm grateful for that. The power for both my mom and I didn't come back until Thursday. And so I didn't shower. Since Monday, girl.
Oh,
no me había bañado. Yo estaba toda hedionda. Like, disgusting. I mean, I was like, Lord. But my spouse, Abel, he kept asking me, would you rather go through this or go through Harvey again? And I said, oh, no, hell no, I'll take this. Because for me personally, Harvey was really bad. Yeah. We didn't have power for like a good week and a half, and it was hot and humid. And versus the cold, I prefer the cold. Right. So I was like, no, if I had to do it all over again, give me the snow back.
Ooh, girl, I don't know.
What about you?
That's a good question. What would I pick?
What would you pick?
I would pick Harvey because, again,
didn't experience any.
Oh, it's because y'all are up north. Yeah.
Like I was home by myself because I had just bought my home that year.
Really?
So I didn't know if my area flooded or what it was like. So I sent the baby with her dad because they'd been in their home for a long time. So they knew. And so I knew she was safe over there.
That's
and I'm
good.
like, well, if in case the house floods, I don't want to be wading through water with a baby that doesn't walk. So I was like, no, let's just put her in a safe place and then I'll deal with whatever. But I don't know. Luckily, nothing. Like my area didn't flood. I didn't lose power. I didn't. Good. So again, really, really lucky.
That's so awesome. No, you're very protected. Thank God for that, When Harvey happened, it flooded bad over here. We're a lower area, so the houses are a little bit, lower. The up in Spring in the Woodlands, it's higher up, it's more, I can't say Healy because it's not Austin, but it is a little bit higher above ground. Yeah. So my mom's neighborhood flooded. At the time I was living with my mom, and that neighborhood flooded so bad. I saw my siblings walk in water that was like up to their chest. Yeah. And it was just like, holy crap. Like I don't know. It was too much. Yeah. So I would pick the snow again.
No, I mean, I did have a situation like that in one of the hurricanes, and I can't remember which one it was now. It was definitely before I had jet. Oh. It was one that was really, or I don't even know if it was a hurricane or if it was just like one of those flood times or where it rained really bad and it flooded really bad. And my mom got stuck at work and she couldn't leave. And my siblings were home by themselves. Now, at this time, they were like, I think my youngest siblings was probably like 11 or 12. Oh, yeah. And then they were older from there. But I remember I had a Dodge Ram, a truck. And I remember I was like, I got to go get him. Because I didn't live at home anymore. But I was like, I got to go get him. Yeah. And I remember I pulled up to the neighborhood and everybody was parked outside the neighborhood because both entrances to the neighborhood were flooded like chest deep.
Yeah, that's how it was.
Well, girl, me bajé del carro and I went and I waded through the water and I walked all the way. And then I grabbed the kids and I remember putting my little sister on my back because she was short. And we waded through the water and we got in the truck all wet and I took them to my house. And Lord. Yeah, definitely. I can empathize and I can understand what that feels like because it's
horrible.
But, it's Houston and we're used to that. We know how to deal with it. We're prepared for stuff like that, like mentally, literally, like, we know the drill, right? But this was...
It caught us off guard. What can I say?
This was something totally different. And for me, I think the worst part of it is like everyone's pipes bursting.
That was a lot. Yeah.
I had friends who ceilings completely fell because the pipe burst. So, and there's just water everywhere. My father-in-law's house. So he stayed with my sister-in-law and nobody was at the house. The pipes in the kitchen burst. The pipes in the restroom burst and the entire house flooded. So they are now having to deal with a flood situation. They had to go clean out the entire house, throw everything that was wet away. And they've been dealing with that for a week now. And so, lots of bad stuff. But we have our health. We didn't lose anyone, which I'm very thankful for. And we do have to look on the bright side of things. And now we know, now we've experienced this and we're going to learn from this and move on and continue to be Houston and continue to be someone.
For sure. So. Yeah, no, it's heartbreaking. And then the whole time, obviously, we didn't have Wi-Fi. So we're looking on Facebook trying to get, some signal, seeing how everybody else is doing. And everybody else was like, dude, this sucks. And the good thing, though, I will say I'm grateful for Facebook because there was a lot of posts that people would share, like how to survive this winter storm, with the whole, like how to heat up a can of food, how to stay warm, just basic things that people were DIYing in their own homes, how to survive. Right. And so that was pretty nice. I did appreciate that. But yeah, prayers up.
And I love how whenever through these times, these crises, like the Houston community always comes together. Like people go into survival mode and they go into share mode and they go into like, what do y'all need? Who needs this? Hey, this I saw this over here. This over here is selling this, Yeah. And I know I posted like, hey, anybody see any firewood? Let me know immediately. Like 3 or 4 people. Hey, I saw it over here. Hey, I saw it over there. God. And it's those things that makes Houston. Yes. And it's because we've gone through hurricanes and because we go through this kind of regularly, that we get into this mode of like, and then we become this huge community. I saw so many posts of plumbers. Hey, I'm a plumber. I'm not charging. Call me. Hey, I'm a plumber. I'm not charging. Let me know where I'm on this area. Who needs me?
God bless them.
People coming from other states, to help out plumbers and hey, they have this type of pipe over here, this type of connect. I've learned so much about plumbing supplies.
For real? So now you know.
And those things. And so that to me is always beautiful when I see our community come together. And Mattress Mac, I just love him.
Oh, I love him. Thank God we have that. Look, the sad thing about this is that our own community and business owners are doing more than our freaking local government. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I had to say it. I had to say it. Look, my mom, she actually flew out to Cancun as well, but she's not a fucking politician. Like, she was gone the whole winter storm. She's like, no, aquí estoy, toda madre en el calor, like, by the beach. But she's not a politician. She's a freaking manager at a store.
Right. And her kids are grown.
And like, whatever. You're the senator of Texas. You really thought, I mean, come on, dude. What was the reason?
I posted him to shreds on my Facebook. I could not get off of him because I was just like, I cannot believe. And people still supporting, still making excuses. He deserves a break. He deserves a vacation. He this like, oh my God.
And the thing that people have wrong is that it's not even about the fact that he's a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I don't associate myself with anything because I think it's all doo-doo. Yeah, I don't like anybody. I don't trust nobody. But you have to admit, like, even if he was a Democrat or whatever, you have to admit it. It was wrong. It was wrong. You're supposed to lead your people. You're supposed to make sure they're good. No, pues ahí andaban diciendo que, like, once he came back, he was handing out waters and all this and that. Really? You think I want some damn water? Mejor regrésate a Cancún.
La nieve, like, what are you doing?
People actually died, dude. People actually died because of this.
The one that really hit me really hard and made me more angry and made my cruise rage.
Your cruise rage?
Hashtag cruise rage. More was the family in Sugarland whose house burned down and they lost 3 young children. God. And the grandmother, I believe. And my heart...
No.
And I just was like, and then the grandmother who died of hypothermia.
Yeah. No, there was
the mother and daughter who went in their car for warmth and died of carbon monoxide poisoning. People just trying to stay warm died. And this hijo de su, ya sabes qué?
Yeah.
¿En qué cabeza cabe eso?
That just
regardless of your political affiliation.
No, it doesn't matter.
Like, even people like my friends that I know that are, leaders in their companies, right? Wherever they work, right? They're in management position, leader positions. They were even like, no, I wouldn't leave my employees. Like, how would that look to my employees if my employees are going through this and I'm checking in on them from Cancun?
No.
Like, it just doesn't register to a normal, empathetic person. You know what I mean? Like, that just...
There's no excuse.
What?
There's no excuse.
And then what makes it even add insult to injury is that he literally sat there and tried to lie about it first.
Really?
And then the text leaked, right? God. And it was like, oh, well, my daughters were invited and I just was escorting them over there and I was going to come right back.
No.
And then the text came out and the group chat text, right? And where his wife is like, hey, we're going to Cancun. You guys want to come? Blah, blah, blah. And even the people in the text are like, yeah, no, I can't leave my so-and-so person or I have to be here and make sure that they're okay. Like, hello.
No
like,
shit. ¿Qué cabeza?
I was just livid.
No, I know.
And I know I upset some people in my family because of this, but whatever. Because they're gonna defend no matter what. They're going to make it okay because they have to. Because at this point, it's very much cult behavior.
Yeah.
We're in cult land now.
We are.
These are no longer party affiliated people that are like, oh, my political party, blah blah blah. This is now cult behavior. You're seeing, you're witnessing the ridiculousness of the decision making from our leader. And
you're still allowing it. Yeah.
And it does not help that there is no accountability from the Republican Party. Like, Trump has got off on 2 impeachments now. And I knew he wasn't going to be impeached in this last one because there's just no way. There's just no way. Like, they can't. It's that thing of like, deny till you die. And they've denied so much that they...
¿Para qué? No. Yeah. It's trash. I mean, both sides, like, I hate both sides with a passion. I'm sorry. I just don't trust it. I don't trust anybody. I don't like it. I just feel like
I think I've said this before, where it's like left wing, right wing, it doesn't matter. It's the same bird. So to me, it's the same doo-doo.
and then let's be clear, like for those of our listeners that are not in Texas, that are not in Houston, let's be clear. Yeah. This was not this level of disaster because of the weather. This was an issue. This happened because of bad decision making or for-profit decision making from our state leaders.
That's right.
And not in this moment, like from years past, right? So we decided that we didn't want to be part of the federal grid or whatever. We didn't want to be regulated by Washington. So we're like, okay, no, in true Texas, like secede the union type fashion, we wanted to do our own thing. Why? Because by doing that, nobody's looking to make sure, hey, is your stuff working right? Are you prepared? Do you have all the things that you need to have in case a disaster happens and you'll be set, right? There's nobody regulating, right?
Oh
so that means that these people can cut corners, not do the things to maximize their profit, right? And that's exactly what happened. And it's not like it's all of a sudden we had this storm. We didn't know that this wasn't going to work. No. There were several instances. 2011 was one of them. There was another year also where we were very close to this, and we knew then that the grid was not going to support anything further than that.
Right.
Did they do anything to fix or to amend? No.
Not really, no.
They turned a blind eye. They're like, we never get those temperatures. It's fine. So no, this is not, had the energy, the grid worked the way it was supposed to work, people would have been in their homes with power in the heat, and people would not have died.
Exactly.
And we would not have what we had. And that's the reality of the situation.
It's heartbreaking. It's sad, but everything's going to come to light. I really feel it. As we progress in this year, like there's a lot of astrologers that believe that 2021 is an extension of 2020.
Right.
And it's going to continue to be crazy. But in the end, we're going to see more of the truth come out.
Correct.
With everything.
So, yeah, a lot of metaphysical people, let's just call it that, have predicted and are predicting and saying that 2020 and 2021 is all about disclosure.
It is.
It's all about the truths being brought to the light. Yeah, we're going to see what things are for what they really are.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's up to us to decide, okay, am I going to accept this as reality, or am I going to continue to bury my head in the sand? Right.
Yeah. No, it's up to you. You have to make that decision. But regardless, you shouldn't turn a blind eye to stuff like this. We can't keep going like this. Like, we can't keep allowing people to just die because of political reasons or corruption. It's not right. It's not right.
Yeah. But it's like, then you have to ask yourself, like, well, what's the answer? How do we, if the corruption and the blindness is from the top, like,
how do you get rid of it?
And so to me, it's like, well, okay, well, is 2022 the year that Texas turns blue?
Who knows?
I don't know.
After
this, are we going to get, and then it's like, do we get amnesia? Are we going to forget when it comes time to vote?
Maybe. That's what happens every time. We just stop remembering all the bad stuff. But
vote, people. If you're not registered to vote, if you want to make a difference, vote. Vote. And I'm not saying you have to vote blue. That's not what I'm saying. We're not here to
No. It doesn't matter.
Pick a side. You have to decide that for yourself. But we're saying educate yourselves. Like, look at the reality of things. Like, really take the time to say, okay, which Republican or Democrat, whatever your political vision is really going to work positively and not just for profit, for greed, for this constant corruption, not these, Rick Perry, Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott type politicians. We've done that. We've had that. We've had nothing but that in Texas. And where does that put us?
Right. Come on. We can do better than that. Kendall for Senate. During all of this, you guys, I was texting Kendall like, girl, I wish you were working for our local government, because I feel like you would get more shit done. You would be passing out bread and water and doing the most.
All the things,
you
girl.
would do it. No, and then I started thinking about special needs.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, we could really, if we had somebody who understood that, I mean, we could change everything in Texas.
I agree, absolutely, because being a parent of a child with special needs makes you empathic to people's suffering, people's struggles in an extra way, I'll say, because you live it firsthand day to day. You see it firsthand day to day. And so it changes you as a person. Absolutely. 100%. I do know that. And I feel that. And that's 100% the truth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see how it would be beneficial to have someone in office that can empathize at that level. You know, that's what's missing. That's what we need. It's
We do, because there's people in office right now that don't get it, don't empathize, or just
they're
don't
detached
care.
from reality.
Yes.
They're just so far gone. They can't put themselves in anyone's shoes because they live in a different world.
Yeah.
They don't live the way we live. They're detached completely.
They can
clearly
just fly out to Cancun
by the
whenever.
fact that they think leaving to Cancun in the middle of a storm where the entire state is undergoing mass destruction and disaster.
No.
That right there shows you how detached from reality they are.
And before we hop off of that subject of politics, I do want to say, yes, our leaders do deserve vacations. They do. I'm sure they work so hard and blah, blah, blah to deserve it. But worst timing, dude. Worst timing. You couldn't have waited another freaking week. Come on. Like, you chose to leave knowing what the conditions were going to be like for your people. You could have done more.
And then the irony of his defense. The irony.
I know. Oh, for my kids. Really?
Because my kids are suffering and I don't want them to suffer. So I wanted to cross a border to give them a better life. From the Republican big mouth Ted Cruz, who's like, immigration this, illegal aliens that, they come legally, blah, 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 all that. From that mouth to then turn around and do the thing, the hypocrisy, the level of hypocrisy, the level of blindness, the level of, again, detachment from reality. Yeah. That's what that was.
Yes, you're right.
That's disclosure. Again, bringing things to light, seeing things for what they really are. You know, that's what this 2020 and 2021 is about.
Right. That's right. Talking about bringing things to light, we're going to discuss something kind of spooky, kind of interesting, kind of heartbreaking. We're going to talk about the Cecile Hotel, the Elisa Lam case. And
this episode is pretty much going to be like, we're going to talk about what we would kind of call, quote unquote, dark places, right? Okay. Or evil places, or places that hold and house evil and things like that. And of course, we were inspired to do this episode because we watched the Cesa Hotel
Netflix
docu-series that they have on Netflix, which is really good. So if you have not watched it, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, turn it off now, go watch it, come back and listen after, because we're going to talk all about it. We're going to say all the things. So if you have not watched it and you want to watch it, stop, go watch it, and then come back.
Now, yes, we'll still be here. So we warned you, okay?
Yes.
All right, so where do we even begin with this? Because this is a crazy, crazy story. The Cecile Hotel is located in Los Angeles, California. It's
in downtown Los Angeles.
It's right on Skid Row, right?
It's right off Skid Row.
Which, for those of you who don't know, Skid Row is like one of the worst places in Los Angeles. There's so many homeless people. There's mental health issues in that area. There's lots of violence. There's lots of addictions. It's just not a very safe area. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and that is by design.
That is exactly right.
And that is what I found.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that until I watched the show. I was like, holy cow, this is like, they literally don't let homeless people leave that area so that the rich people on the other side don't have to put up with them.
And the way they've done this is they have put all of the mission, shelters, food banks, all the resources that the state has for homelessness, they've put them all in this one area of downtown. And for that reason, everyone that is homeless and that is in need of these resources, it has to come down to that area to get them. And so that is how Skid Row became Skid Row, because that all of the are in one area.
Wow.
So then people start to camp out, they go to the soup kitchens, things like that, where they give food. So they started to create this community that just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And it's huge right now.
And it's been decades of this.
This
is not like a new issue.
No.
Like it's been decades long. Like
since the Depression, right?
Huh?
Since the Great Depression or something.
Right, exactly.
Like that? Mm-hmm.
And so it's by design. And just like the documentary is saying, where they don't really let them leave outside of this area because they don't want homeless people running around the nice parts of LA. So hey, this is your area, stay here. And so that population has grown and grown and grown and grown. And that's why it's so crime ridden, so drug ridden, prostitution, deaths, kidnappings, all kinds of things, because it's by design.
Right. It's contained. Yeah. It's
and in that is the Cesa Hotel, which was built in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. And pretty much from day one, there's been suicides, murders. There's been lots of stuff inside the Cesa Hotel because of the area that it's in, the type of hotel that it was, right? It's not a high-end hotel. It's kind of a low budget. And then on top of that, because they are in Skid Row area, the government said, okay, some of these hotel rooms that you have to be low housing income places. So like here in Houston, we would say the projects, right?
Right.
Those are like city housing, right? Where you can go and live there for like, you know,
more quote unquote affordable rates.
Right. Like a couple $100 you know, a month versus whatever. So for people that have just gotten out of prison, or people that have, you know, just gotten out of mental institutions, or people that are just homeless and don't have anywhere to go. So the government was like, okay, you have a hotel here, but we demand that at least half of your hotel be low income housing. And then the other half you can rent out as a hotel. So here you have a meshing of two things. So you have people that permanently live there and have lived there for decades. And then you have people that are the hotel visitors that come and go.
The tourists.
And so if you're not native to LA and you don't understand that or even ever heard of Skid Row or what it is, you think, oh, a downtown hotel. Yeah, that's where I want to stay. Because when you plan a trip, so you think, okay, well, let's stay in a central area. That way we can explore the city. And that's what most people do, because in most cities, downtown is like the jewel
all be all,
of the city, right?
Right.
And in LA, not so much.
Oh, man.
And if you don't know that, and that's what happened to Elisa. She wanted to take a trip. She was coming into her own. She was in her early 20s. She wanted to take a trip by herself, you know, explore, travel. She was from Canada, and she did. So she tracked this. She kind of was doing like a California, like she started up north,
like a little
and
tour,
then kind of traveled down and ended up in LA. And during the time that she booked her trip, the Cesa Hotel was going through renovation. So it was trying to clean up its image, and half of it was still the Cesa Hotel. And then they renamed it and rebranded and revamped it to attract young foreign, you know, people
travelers
to come and stay there, right? For like low budget. And they had two different hotel reception areas. Like one side was, and I can't remember the name of the rebranding, but they redecorated. The people that worked there dressed different. It was like a modern spin, right? And then you still had your classic Cesa Hotel, which is where the people that permanently live there, you know, access.
Oh, Lord.
But the issue was that they share elevator.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So people, even though it looked like two different businesses, it wasn't, because they all had to share the same elevator. So yeah, you would come in and it would look modern and fresh and new paint and new this and new that. And then you get in an elevator with like a really sketchy person. And you're like, what the fuck, right?
Oh, no, I didn't know that they shared the elevator. Now that makes sense, considering the case.
Yep.
Okay.
So she comes down and, you know.
And she's only 21, keep in mind. Like, she's a young girl.
I believe it was her first time traveling on her own. And she had done fine up until she got to the Cecil Hotel. And I followed this case when it was happening. Because
which was back in like
2013, I believe.
2013, okay.
Or 2011. One of those two.
two.
And I followed it because when they released the video of her in the elevator, it was so bizarre.
It was
so
weird,
creepy, and so freaky that it just demanded your attention. You could not watch it. And I watched it over and over and over and over. Me too. Because it was just so freaky, so weird. Like, what is she doing?
Yeah. Like, is she on something? Did she see something? Is she looking at ghosts? Like, what the hell's going on in this?
Yeah. And then her movements, her behavior.
Not ordinary.
It was unexplainable. So very, very interesting. And then when they found her, it was just like more questions than answers.
Right.
Like, what do you mean she's been in the water tower this whole time? How did she get up there? How did she get, like, all these questions, right? And it just made it worse, right? And then they held the autopsy report for like months. And so just added and fueled the web sleuths more and added more conspiracy and more stuff. Like, the hotel people are involved. Someone in the hotel killed her, you know, so. What did you think?
Well, I haven't finished the actual documentary series. I haven't finished it. I think we only got in like 2 episodes. So I don't even know how this case ends. I don't even know like what the final answer was to the reason of her death. But I did see the videos. I did see like, you know, the backstory, like how she ended up there, the history of the hotel. So I'm still like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think.
So at episode 2, what's your theory?
Ooh, episode 2 was my theory. My theory,
or up until when you watched it, like with the knowledge that you have up until now, what are your working theories? What do you
was thinking a lot of things. So one, at first I was thinking, okay, somebody in the hotel did it, like for sure. Then I thought, well, what if it's like this hotel works with this is kind of crazy, but what if this hotel works with the local government and they have some sort of trafficking ring or some sort of, you know, agreement there underground? So that was another possibility. And then the more metaphysical route, because you know me, I got to think about things from that point of view as well. I thought, okay, what if this is a place that has hosted so many bad people or people with negative energy, negative intention, and this just became a place that is essentially haunted with some sort of, I don't know, demonic energies, you know? I also saw that as a possibility.
Yep. So I don't think you got this far, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you and tell the listeners. So there's been countless suicides, right? Countless murders. And Richard Ramirez stayed at the Cesa Hotel.
Who's Richard Ramirez?
Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, yes.
Okay,
yes,
all. His docu-series is also on Netflix. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Richard Ramirez is the Night Stalker. He lived at the Cesa Hotel during the time that he was committing his atrocities. So, oh wow, you know, a serial killer lived there. Not 1, 2 serial killers lived in the Cesa Hotel. The other one was a guy from like Eastern Europe. He was jailed for, you know, serial murder, and then they let him go. Because in his country, they're all about rehabilitating prisoners, right? They're at that time they were under prison and jail is for reform, for rehabilitation. We take them with the understanding that we're going to make them better and then release them back out. So he was part of that, and they let him go. And what does he do? He comes to the U.S. and gives himself a whole new identity, a whole new stuff, whatever. So his whole thing was, I am a filmmaker from Eastern Europe. I'm here to make a documentary about Skid Row. So I need to be in the thick of it. He even gets like the police department to like drive him around like in a cop car, like to shadow the police officers for his quote unquote film, right? And he does that, right? So he ends up killing at the Cesa Hotel, like I think it was 2 or 3 prostitutes. He ends up killing them, murdering them, and his way of murdering was like so awful and sadistic. He did this thing where he would get them to almost die by strangling them just right to the brink of death and then bring them back. What the fuck? And then just to do it all over again, over and over and over and over until they finally died. So the worst kind of terror, deaths you can imagine. And all that happened inside the Cecil Hotel while he was disgusting. There. So he ends up getting arrested, whatever. Done. So 2 serial killers, notoriously bad serial killers.
That
the worst of the worst serial killers.
Because there could have been more. There could have been more. There's probably, you never know. There's probably still some there, you know?
That's the thing. You never know.
Don't know.
So this is the type of energy that the hotel is attracting. This is the type of energy that it is being put out in the hotel. This is the type of people that are coming and going, Now, I'm not saying that everyone that's lived at this hotel or has stayed there has been evil or bad. No, but there's been more bad than good. Right. Obviously, because if not, they wouldn't have the reputation that they have.
Of course.
And American Horror Story wouldn't have done a whole season on.
They did a whole season
so
on
they
this?
did the hotel season is based on the Cecil Hotel. The one with Lady Gaga's in it.
I need to check that out. I still have not. I'm so sorry. Like, I have not watched. So many people have told me, you need to watch American Horror Story. It's so good. You would love it. I just, for some reason, I just can't sit down and watch it. Like, I need to.
Some seasons are really good. Some seasons are like,
yeah, I've heard mixed things about it. Yeah, so anyway, going back to that. So we have 2 serial killers in this.
That we know of.
And then
countless murders.
Countless murders. We have
countless violence, domestic violence, prostitution, violence, rapes, just
drug abuse, all of it.
Countless things, overdoses, things like that. To the point where even the hotel manager was like, sometimes we would call the cops and they just wouldn't even come. And I think in her time, while she was there for like 10 years, she's like, we called the police thousands of times.
Yeah,
thousands.
I don't doubt it. So what's the solution to something like that? Like, I mean, why wouldn't you just, well, I guess you can't just shut down the hotel and say, oh no, because these people would still need somewhere to go. So at least if you have them contained, I guess that was the vision, right, of the government to like contain them.
The big reason why they didn't shut them down is because remember they were offering public housing.
Oh,
right. So they needed that. So that's a big reason why they probably maybe even like were like turned a blind eye or didn't, feel the need to do that because it's like, okay, well then where are these people going to go? We're displacing more people,
Man, this is not good. I mean, this is just a Band-Aid solution. Why not get to the root cause,
Right.
I mean, no. Okay. So anyway, going back to Elisa Lam. So how did this story end? I mean, what happened?
We have the elevator footage. She seems like, I can't even describe it. You guys have to watch it. We'll try to find a way to post it. I don't know how to. We'll figure it out. Try to find a way to post it. If not, you guys can Google it. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. And her behavior is just so bizarre that it's like she's running from something, but then she's not. And then it's like she's talking to someone, but she's not. And she's looking out for something, but you don't see anything. The elevator door doesn't close. Even though she pushed all the buttons, it just stays open for a long time. Or like, all that stuff was weird and all that stuff added on to the conspiracy. So eventually what they realized, or the way they closed the case was because of the autopsy report. So Elisa Lam was diagnosed bipolar. And it wasn't just like a mild, but it's like the more severe bipolar, right? She was on a lot of medication. She struggled with it a lot. And what they realized from the toxicology report was that she had very low dosage of her medication. In other words, she had stopped taking her meds. And they don't know why exactly, but she was not medicated the way she should be. And so once they found her, the family kind of was like, okay, look, she has such bad bipolar that she hallucinates. And when she's not on her medication, she's running she feels like she says that someone's chasing her. Something's trying to get her. Something's trying to attack her. So she runs and she hides during her episode, during her delusion, her hallucination. That's her thing. Like she gets real paranoid. Somebody's after me, which is a very common symptom with people that are bipolar. And it reminds me very much of the interview that Kanye West did with David Letterman on also a Netflix show, where he talks about one of his episodes that he had where he had to be hospitalized, when he says it's so inhumane the way they treat people that are going through when you're going through an episode, or when you're quote unquote raging, which is what they call it.
Oh no.
That you literally believe with every fiber of your being that you are being persecuted. Your life is in danger. You feel like everyone is trying to kill you. Everyone is out to get you. Your mind convinces you of that. And during that time, they don't allow you to be around family, friends, or comforter. They just like put you in a straitjacket, sedate you, put you in a room, chain you to a bed, and it makes the experience that much worse. Right?
Oh no.
And it really made me think of that. And so basically at the end of it all was like, she was off her meds. She was hallucinating because she was trying to find a place to hide from whatever she thought was, chasing her or persecuting her. She ended up hiding in the water tower.
That's
the confusion came because when the officers first arrived on scene, when they found her body, because the maintenance worker found her body, because there was, what do they call it? Pressure. The water pressure was really low.
Okay.
The tenants were complaining about dark water. The water tasted weird.
Ew.
You know, things like that.
Oh,
and they were just like, hey, we don't have any water pressure. So the manager goes, hey,
Let's
check
it
see
out.
what's going on. Maybe there's a clog, maybe an animal or whatever, right? So that's how they ended up finding her in the water tower. So there's people that say, okay, well, how did she get up there?
Right. That's what I knew, that she ended up in the tower, but I just don't understand how. Like, how would she have gotten there? Because when they found her, she was like naked.
She was naked. But her clothes were in the water tower.
In the water
she was
tower.
Naked. So the confusion came because when the first officers arrived on scene, when they gave a press conference, they said that the lid was on, that it was closed. So if the lid is closed, and this is like a 20-pound, very heavy iron lid, then that speaks to another person being involved, because how could she close the lid on herself from the water tower?
No.
There's no way. Right?
No, logically speaking, no. How? That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. But that was false information. The maintenance worker took the lid off. No, the maintenance worker said that the lid was off. And so it wasn't. It was open. And so that's where the confusion. And then in the report, it says that the lid was off. But when the officer gave the press conference, he gave false information. It was a mistake, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
But that is what made it into this whole like web sleuth conspiracy. Oh my God, what's happening? Like there was somebody else involved. How could she have gotten in there and then closed the lid on herself? There's no way, whatever. So once they worked that out, they were like, no. And they interviewed the maintenance worker that found her, and he's very clearly says, no, the lid was off. And that,
So do they feel like it was foul play? Do they feel like there was somebody else involved?
They can't, no, because even when they fingerprinted the
tank,
the tank, they didn't find anything. Yeah.
Oh heck no, dude! I really feel like it's fishy. It's fishy. I don't think it was just her. I mean, it could have been just her having an episode, unfortunately, that led to that. But I don't know. What do you think?
So my theory is, I do feel like the fact that she was off her medication and she was severely bipolar played a big role in what happened with her. Of course. I do think that she did put herself in the water tower.
Okay.
I do think that she was experiencing some form of hallucination or something that caused her to put herself in the water tower for whatever reason. And it's this thing that it also makes me think about how whenever you hear about a child that's like autistic or a special needs child that goes missing, they almost always find them in a body of water, drowned. And that's something that I've kind of been making mental notes of throughout the year, because I swear anytime I hear about an autistic child going missing, they always find them in a body of water. And so there's something in the brain, I feel like there's something that happens to people when they are in those states of consciousness, or where they don't, I don't know how to describe it, that calls them to water.
Well, it reminds me of that moment you had back in the beginning of your awakening when you felt very drained after basically channeling to a bunch of people and you thought you were going to die. So you told your man, I need to be in water.
Yes.
Right?
I was going to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about this in another episode.
And we talked about this in the spiritual awakening episode. Yes. Where I felt the need, I need to go get in water. I need to like purify, cleanse, like reset. Like I don't know. It was I just needed to be in a bathtub in water. That's the only way I knew I could feel better. And I did. So that's something there. That's part of my theory, right?
Okay. That makes sense.
For me, when I watched the video again, when I watched the docu-series, not when I watched it a long time ago, but now with the understanding and the knowledge that I have now, to me, I could very clearly see spirits, entities, something in the elevator.
Of course.
Okay. Now, yes, the video is grainy. It's not good quality. But it's important to understand that what is video? Okay. So video is a series of really rapid pictures. Right.
Pixelated.
And the lower quality of the video, the slower the pictures go. Right. Which makes it grainy and distorted sometimes, or things like that. Right. The higher quality, the faster the pictures go, so the clearer the image. But to me, when I was watching it again, I very much saw entities in the elevator. Because if you watch the video again, when she walks in the elevator, she's very like happy-go-lucky, like, I'm in the elevator. She's swinging her arm. And the moment she bends down, because she does this like thing where she bends all the way down. Nobody does that. When you get in an elevator, you push a button. You don't bend down to look at all the buttons the way she did. You just push whatever buttons you need. To me, the moment that she bends down to start touching the buttons is when I feel she was jumped by spirit.
Oh my God.
Because when she
once she
starts
gets up
pushing
from
all the buttons, you're just like, what? And then she snaps back up, and then she stands back.
And she's not the same after that.
And she starts doing the weird thing.
Where she kind of can see everything,
right?
Something. She's looking at something.
So I replayed it several times as I was watching it. And to me, now this is just me. This is my sense, my intuition, talking, whatever. When you see the video again, before she gets in, I see some type of entity bend down to the buttons, very much the way she did right before she did.
Oh, fuck.
Almost like placing themselves there, ready. And I think that because of her condition, because of she hadn't taken her medication, she was more susceptible.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, that you become
attachment.
more open. Yeah,
that's my spiritual view.
Yeah, and no, I agree with you because, of course, I have an understanding in this. When you understand the spiritual aspects or the metaphysical aspects of these things, it makes sense. I can see how somebody who doesn't have an understanding is probably like, what the fuck? Like,
that's crazy.
That's not possible. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, it can be. You just don't know. I agree with you 100%. And I feel like it makes sense. Coming at it from a metaphysical point of view, this is a place, like we said earlier, that has hosted a lot of negative energy throughout many years, not just a couple incidents here and there.
Since the 20s.
Many years. And now keep this in mind too. No, I highly doubt that anybody in the history of the Cesa Hotel has gone in there and done a limpia on this place, has gone in there and blessed this place. No, hell no. Who?
They never made mention of it. Like, it's a business. Why would they do that? Like, and it's a corporate business.
Right. And then keeping in mind, like, the tenants, the people that go in. I don't know. Maybe somebody tried at one point, but I don't get that. I don't get that vibe. Oh, I don't know. Just
and think about all the, because so we talked about this in the sage episode, right? Where we say, make sure that when you're saging, you sage your shower, you sage your tub.
Your
Why?
bed, everything.
Because that is where we go to dump our emotions.
Exactly. That's
we
where
cry,
we release.
We think about things. We purge. We have a good cry in the shower, and we move on, right?
Right.
But all that energy, all that negativity, all that sadness gets trapped in the shower, which is why it's important that when you're saging your home, that you don't miss the shower, the tub, the bed.
Everything.
Because these are the places where we go to unburden ourselves from our negative emotions, right? And so people that, even the people that haven't, let's say they didn't die at the Cesa Hotel or they didn't commit some crime, people would go there that were hurting, that were sad, they didn't have anywhere else to go, that their life was,
not in a good
falling
place.
apart, not in a good place. And that type of energy staying trapped in these hotel rooms over and over and over for years and years and years, that stuff has to build up.
It has to. No, and even just thinking about the place, I feel so much heaviness. Oh, it's so bad. If somebody asked me, hey, let's go check out this, hell to the fucking no.
Oh, thank you.
Hell no. Oh, come on, you can do a limpia. Hell no. Because I feel like it would take a team of us. No. Like, it would have to be like you, Kat, Allison, like, I mean, everybody, the whole freaking Houston witches to come out and go.
All the sage.
All the Palo Santo. No, I don't even think sage would be strong enough. We would have to get some mugwort,
Girl, I don't even know what it would take. I mean, all the nooks and crannies that are in a place like that, the sheer vastness, the massiveness, the people that still live there, that are part of this,
they would just keep that cycle.
They're still going to live there.
That's so true.
You can't get them out.
You can't.
Right?
No, you
and
can't.
so that brings us to our topic today of evil places,
Yes.
or dark places,
energies.
right? Places that have a history of this type of like trapped energy that then people start to say, oh, don't go to that place. We don't go over there. That's a negative place. Like,
don't touch that.
Exactly. Which brings me to the next thing. Did we wrap up the Elisa Lam? Do you feel like we?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Basically, at the end of the day, the official report is she was off her medication. She was hallucinating. She was having a bipolar episode. And in her paranoia, in her hallucination, she felt the need to put herself in the water tower. And while in the water tower, because it was a cold water tower, she was there for a long time, and the water tower was pretty full. She couldn't get out, and she was just wading in water and waiting so she wouldn't drown. And then she tried. They say that they think she took her clothes off because after a while the clothes start to get heavy, and so you kind of strip to kind of make it easier for you to wade through the water. Yeah. And then also because of hypothermia.
Right.
It could have been that she was just, so I think the official report was drowning. She drowned.
They drowned, yeah.
Because she was there for weeks. Yeah. Weeks she was there, so.
Oh, Lord. I feel so bad for the family.
That's the Cesa Hotel. The next
dark place.
dark place I want to talk about is the Suicide Forest in Japan.
That place is crazy. It is so eerie.
Yeah.
Have you seen the pictures of the forest? Yeah. Eerie place.
It's called and I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it right, but the 𝚂𝚑𝚅𝚒𝚎𝚗𝚝 Forest.
Okay, in Japanese.
It's called, right? It's about 300 square kilometers of forest, also known as the Dead Forest or something like that. The sea forest, because it's like a sea of trees, right?
Okay.
And so this place has been a place where people come to commit suicide for a long time. And we're talking like hundreds of people a year that come and commit suicide. Most of the suicides are hangings and then followed right behind by overdose. So people will go and then take a bunch of pills and lay somewhere and then just wait to die. And then some people will go through the whole process of hanging themselves. It's become such an issue that the government has decided to stop televising or announcing the deaths, because they don't want to continue to attract or give this place notoriety. So people are like, oh, you know what? I am feeling like killing myself. I might as well just do it over there, And to the point now where the government has also started posting signs like, please don't kill yourself here. If you're thinking about, if you're having suicidal thoughts, don't come into the forest, call this number, yada, 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 right?
Oh, this makes me so sad. I literally have this feeling to just cry just thinking about this place.
Yeah. Ugh. So it's where people come that they want to end their lives for whatever reason, and they pick that place to do it. And that place has been known for that. And because of that, there's a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of working theories about why this forest, why this place. And basically it's one of those folklore where it's like this place has been evil from jump.
Whoa, really?
And this is a forest and a place that like people don't really go to, and people don't unless you're coming for that. So I found that also really interesting. And it's even to the point where like people, and I saw this in a documentary and I can't remember which one, but they will take a piece of string or something and they will like tie a string to a tree, and then as they're walking into the forest, they will let the string to kind of create like a trail, right?
Sure.
Like, to get it back out if they want to. But really, most of them do it so that way when the authorities come, they know to follow the string, and that will lead them eventually to the body.
Dude, this is too much.
Yeah. And then you also have to understand culturally, and I'm not even going to pretend to like know a lot about Japanese culture because I don't. This is just what I picked up from, the documentaries and things that I've read and seen. But, in Japanese culture, committing suicide is, and in most cultures, it's very obviously frowned upon.
Right.
But with Japanese culture, it tends to bring an extra layer of shame to not just the individual, but the family.
Wow.
And so I think this is why people choose to do this in a place away from
society.
To trying to kind of help, deal with the shame.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right.
And they view suicide in a different way as well. From samurai days, how you fall on your sword whenever you do something that goes against your culture or whatever, right? And then you basically commit suicide, and then someone else, like in samurai times, would chop off your head after you stabbed yourself. There's a term for it, and I can't think of it right now.
I did not know about that.
Anyways, so culturally, there's stuff going on there too. That's pushing people to say, okay, this is the spot where we come do this.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
that's crazy. No, I heard about this place years ago when I think it was Abel who told me about it, and I was like, wait, what? There's a forest where people just go to die? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, there's people that go in tour over there and everything. Yeah. It's like, dude, I would not want to go there. The energy would just be too much for someone like me who's very empathic. I feel like I would have little spirits following me home that need some type of closure, you know? Yeah, no, I can't. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's one of those places that's like a mystery. It's like, well, what is it that's here that draws people to this forest to do this? Because this has been happening for
centuries, probably
hundreds of years. Like this is not a new thing. Like all this stuff is, like we're talking like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like
wow,
But in recent times, it's become quote unquote popular or like pop culture-ish because it's fascinating. Because now we have all these decades long of people coming here to do this thing, and so it's it catches that like notorious attention.
And it's not just the locals, the people of Japan who are going there and doing that. There's people that literally fly out and make that the place where they will commit suicide.
Yes, there's a lot of good documentaries, guys. Just give it a Google, like Suicide Forrest documentaries, and you guys can watch a couple of them. And there's a lot of shows that have done episodes on the Suicide Forest. If you guys are interested and want to learn a little bit more about it and understand it, it's really interesting.
And I do have this need to just say it. If you are feeling suicidal, please talk to somebody. You can talk to us, DM us. Don't feel weird about reaching out. Just reach out to somebody, because you're not alone. You're not alone. And we're all experiencing a lot of stuff, especially with this year, 2020 being 2020, the pandemic, the politics, the corruption, the everything, the finances. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have been affected by this and are struggling with this. So if you're somebody who is considering that, please, talk to somebody. You're not alone.
Absolutely. There's a lot of great suicide hotlines. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of help out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely you're not alone. And it's a common thing. I experienced it.
Yeah, same.
I went through a period of my life where I went through Great Depression, and I did have suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And for me, that was when I was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I need to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because why am I thinking these things?
Right.
This is not normal. This is not right. This is not me. And that was my like snap, where I was like, I gotta go
get help.
Get on. Because at that time I was like, oh, I don't want to be on medication. I don't want to be medicated.
Yeah, and that's the typical.
And all this Hispanic taboo behind mental health, right? Oh, no, ve a la iglesia. Tienes que ir a la iglesia.
That's
no
what
rezas.
they always say.
No, es que no vas a misa.
Yeah.
No, this is el rosario. That's the reason why you're having these issues, because you don't go to church enough. You're not close to God. And it's like, no, that's not it. But thanks. You know what I mean?
That's not really helping.
Yeah.
But,
So, and it's the stigma of like, oh, well, if you get on antidepressants, you're going to be a zombie. Which and I can't even really talk shit about it, because that was my mentality. Mm-hmm. That was my 100% belief. That if I got on antidepressants, it was going to turn me into a zombie. I was going to be useless. Me van a poner en un manicomio. Like all these novelas that we see where one of the characters like goes off her rocker, and it's like, she's like just in a facility, just staring out the window, right? Aww. That's the pop culture version of Hispanic depression,
No.
And no, it's not that at all. And I literally can still remember the day, when my medication started working. Aww. And I remember I woke up, and as soon as I opened my eyes, it was like the world was brighter. Aww. And it literally felt like someone had flipped a switch in my brain. And the world was brighter. I was happy. And the thing about depression is, when you're depressed, you forget what happiness feels like until you feel it again. And once you feel it again, you're like, oh my God,
this is amazing.
So far gone.
Yeah.
I was so far gone. And I forgot what it felt like to feel joy. And that's unless you go through it, people don't really understand that.
They don't get it.
And once my medication started working, I was a whole different person. Everything was, I feel like I could take on in the world. I felt like myself again.
That's awesome.
And it was amazing. So yes, medication does work.
I was going to ask you.
No.
I was going to ask you because especially since 2020, and everything that's happened, I've had a lot of moments where I'm like, dude, I can't do this shit no more. It's been so much. And I've actually been considering talking to a psychiatrist and getting on some sort of medication. So I'm glad you're sharing that because I'm sure it'll help a lot of people, including myself.
I'm all about it. I'm all for it. My clients and I talk about, I'm always like, hey, seek out therapy because I did that too.
Yes.
And by seeking out therapy is how I came to find out that I have ADD.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because in the 80s, that wasn't a thing.
No.
And it was a thing, but it was like a rare thing that only happened to boys.
What
Girls
the hell?
weren't screened for ADD.
Yeah,
that wasn't a girl thing.
Right.
Because ADD presents itself differently in men and women. And at that time, we didn't understand that.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was undiagnosed. And what really was happening is that my ADD caused my depression.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right? Because when you're ADD, you can't finish things. You're always lost. You're always starting stuff and you can't keep focused. You're not good at school. You're not good at work. You're not good at home. You can't keep it together. You see everyone else around you, and to you, their life is so put together. You're like, how is it that my friend has 3 kids and a husband and a job and she's got it all, and I'm barely hanging on with 1 child and myself?
Yeah.
How? And it makes you feel shitty. It makes you feel bad about yourself. And that's when that negativity starts playing in your head. Oh, I'm worthless. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm so this. I'm so that. Everyone else is so much better than me. I'm useless. And then if you have people in your life that kind of echo that, it makes it worse. If you have toxic people in your life, they're like, yeah, what the fuck? You're lazy. Stop being so lazy. You're not depressed. You're just lazy. Get up earlier. Why do you get up so late? Why do you sleep so much?
Hispanic culture is so fucked.
Those are the things that make depression worse.
Yeah. That's not helping. You're not helping by telling somebody they're lazy and they can't get... Actually, what would help somebody is telling them, I'm so proud of you. Right. I'm so proud of all the work you're doing. You're doing great. You are enough. You're
worthy.
You are worthy. You are safe. All of these things, not saying you're lazy. You can't do this. You can't do that. That's not going to help somebody.
My mom's favorite thing, ponte a limpiar.
Yes, girl, my mom used to say the same thing. Ponte es que estés mucho tiempo ahí en la cama.
Ponte a hacer algo.
For real. ¿De qué estás deprimida? ¿De qué? ¿De qué? Ya quisiera yo.
¿Qué te aflige?
Girl, I can't. I can't. Oh, Lord.
And it's that type of toxicity that makes depression worse.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have to deal with the whole, I don't want to be a zombie, so I'm not going to be on meds.
So then you're stuck.
I'm not going to therapy because people are going to look at me weird because why am I in therapy? They're going to think I'm crazy. Yeah. All these things.
That's so
they're
silly.
all bullshit.
No. You have to do what works for you, and that's all that matters. Fuck what everybody's saying or thinking,
Yeah, because once I got on the ADD medication, because that took me a whole year too to come to terms with that and say, okay, I'm going to try the medication because I was already on the antidepressant and I'm like, I can't, this is too much. So what, I'm just going to be a pill popper now? I'm just going to be one of these people that are just on medication the rest of their lives, And once I decided to start taking the ADD medication, and it even felt weird to tell people that I was diagnosed with ADD. Like people would be like, that's not even really a thing. Like, how come that's a thing now and that wasn't a thing when we were kids?
No, it's always been a thing. We just didn't know about it.
They just want to medicate all the kids now. No.
Not exactly.
But once I started on the ADD medication and I became productive and all my life completely changed and I was reaching my potential and then some, and I realized, oh shit, I'm not worthless. I'm not useless. I'm getting things done. I'm productive. I'm smart. Then the depression went away.
Of course.
And then I didn't need to be on the antidepressant anymore because I was treated.
Right.
I treated the source of my depression, which was my untreated ADD.
Wow. And it took you so long to get there because of
in
society. Because of society.
Yeah.
That's insane.
We're here to tell you guys, seek therapy.
Please.
Seek counseling. Seek medication. Don't be afraid of it. It's not forever.
No,
it's not. It can be sometimes. It depends. Everyone's different, but
it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to be. And no, you're not. You don't turn into a zombie. That's not.
Can you imagine?
I think people mistake medication for like schizophrenia.
Yes.
Like more severe mental. those medicines are maybe a little bit more sedative, right? Because of what they're trying,
right.
you know. And so I think people think that, mental health, eres una loca, you must be schizophrenic or some more severe type of mental, you know. And no, that's not the thing.
No. And don't feel ashamed. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many people are going, it's ridiculous. When I think back about it now and how much I suffered for no reason, just because of misinformation, because of the culture and things, and it just...
Well, I'm glad that you were able to finally find what works for you, and in that help others as well around you. Like you said, your clients. Like I have clients that come in and they're, you know, they talk to me about their issues and stuff, and it's really nice that what we're going through, we can help others with, right. You know. So that's
and that's not to say that I'm 100% cured. No. I still have my what I call my sad days. You know.
Yeah, we all
had
have
one yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just, and I feel like it's just normal though, because everyone has days like that.
Of
because
course,
life just can get so overwhelming.
It's
sometimes we have to do so much, and that there's so much demand, and it just can become overwhelming to where like one day you're like, I don't want to get out of bed today, and I did not want to get out of bed yesterday. And I didn't.
No, and that's okay too. Like, people don't realize, like, our bodies need a break. Mm-hmm. Our bodies, our physical bodies, not only that, our mental, our spiritual bodies.
Right.
You need to, like, if your body's telling you, hey, I need to stay in bed and watch Netflix all day, do it. Fucking do it. Oh, hey, I don't want to get up and shower. Don't shower. Yeah. Fuck it. Go shower tomorrow. Like,
right.
Take it slow. Take it day by day. That's why because yesterday we were going to record, but then, you know, Kendall was feeling this way, and I was like, dude, don't feel bad.
Yeah,
don't.
You were so supportive. You were so great.
Because I know. And like last week, that was me. The whole fucking week, I was like, I'm not doing this. I can't. Yeah. I can't. You can't. You just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, right. You know?
And that's the difference between having a sad day and depression. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because having a sad day is like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to people. I don't want a mom. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do anything. I need to take a break, right?
Yeah.
And you do. Depression is when you spend the day like that and you're crying nonstop and you don't know why, or you're having suicidal thoughts, or you're having thoughts of worthlessness, of that's different. That's when you know, okay, you know what, I need to take another step, because this is not just I'm having a sad day and I need a break, I need a me day. No, this is something else. And and it's important to recognize the difference.
For sure. Yeah, that's true. I'm glad you clarified that. Well, talking about dark places and all that fun stuff, and I shouldn't say fun, but interesting stuff. There's one more story that Kendall want to discuss on this episode, and it's a very confusing story as well. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. So this is called the Dyatlov Pass incident, and I don't know if I said that right? So, the only reason I want to talk about this is because recently it's been as recent as January 28th. It's been quote unquote solved, right?
Okay.
So this is a mystery that's been like 60 years in the up in the air. Like, what happened to these people? So in 1959, 9 student hikers and 1 experienced, I don't know, sportsman, leader guy, whatever. They went on a skiing, mountain climbing type expedition in this part of, I believe it's in Russia, where at the time was the Soviet Union, that the local people say is a no-go. Like, they don't go there. Weird stuff happens there. There's a lot of UFO activity that's reported in this area. There's a lot of like cryptoid activity where like the Yeti and things like that, like weird, animal like things that have. And these are stories that the native tribes of that area like have passed on for centuries and generations,
like, don't go to this place. This is
and really I think it's referred to as like the dead forest or the dead mountain, something like that, where it's like, we don't go there. This, like, it's almost like the Bermuda Triangle of that area.
Whoa.
Like a land Bermuda Triangle, right? Where weird things happen.
Like people go in and don't come out.
People go in and don't come back, or people go in and weird things happen. Okay.
No.
So these 10 people, 9 students, 1 experienced hiker, they go to have this like week-long skiing, whatever, escapade, right? Mm-hmm. They don't come back. Oh. So, this was January 23rd when they set off, 1959. And then in February 26th of that year, the search party found the tent, the campsite where they camped, right? And when they came up to the tent, they found the tent was torn to shreds from the inside.
What the hell?
They found 9 footprints, like foot tracks that lead from the camp into the forest, because they kind of like camped right outside the forest.
Okay. Like on the edge of the forest?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And they found tracks, right? 9 people. Some of the tracks had shoes. Some people had no shoes on. And this is during January when they went missing, right? In Russia, which is like super freezing, snow, cold, hypothermic temperatures, you know, because Russia is very cold in the winter.
Right.
So some tracks were barefoot. Some people had one shoe on, one shoe off. Some people were fully clothed. Some people were naked. So when they found the bodies by the creek, this is what they found. 2 people had their eyes were missing. 1 person had their tongue missing. And then most of the bodies had very severe, like their bones were crushed. Their head skull was crushed. One had a very small like hole, or like you know, in their skull, like an injury, a fracture in their skull. It's just very bizarre findings, right?
Oh my God.
So because of that, it's like, okay, the tent is torn from the inside. Some of the bodies were found with burn marks. Some bodies were naked. Some bodies were half clothed. Some bodies were fully clothed. And so this led to a lot of like conspiracy and a lot of like theories, right? Like some people say UFO attacks, some people say Yeti attacks.
What's a Yeti for those of you who don't know?
So a Yeti is the ice version of a Bigfoot.
Oh, I've seen. Oh my God, that's fun. There was like a show, right? Like there was a cartoon that they had one of those Yeti.
The Monsters Inc.
Oh, that was a Yeti. Oh,
no.
Sully?
So when they get kicked out of the when they get exiled.
Yeah.
And they like send them through a door, and they
that guy, that big dude.
He's like, "Do you guys want some yellow snow?"
Oh, I love Monsters Inc. That's such a cute movie. We're always talking about Disney movies.
We're always talking about Pixar, yeah.
Okay,
but yeah, that's
what it is.
Yeti,
okay, so
which is like a white Bigfoot type
creature
that's snow, like in the snow mountains.
Okay.
A snow creature.
Okay.
So yeah, so then because of how the bodies were found, because the tent was ripped from the inside, because of the burn marks, the missing tongue, the missing eyes, the type of injuries they had, because they're half closed, half not closed, all these things led to lots of wild theories, right? And it's been a mystery up until January of this year.
Holy cow. So like 61 years later.
Right.
Wow.
So basically what they're saying now is that they believe that a small slab broke off the mountain and created an avalanche, and that's what killed them. And so their theory is that they heard the rumbling of the avalanche. They were in their tents. Some were sleeping. Some were already up, dressed, ready to go.
Okay.
And so it had to happen sometime like in the morning when they were getting ready to leave. Some people were still asleep in their tents. So what happened is, as they hear the thumbling, everybody scrambles, hurry up, get out. Or the people that are already out, dressed, you know, hey, there's an avalanche coming. Hurry, get out. And so they cut the tent to get out of it, and they all start running towards the creek, right? Running or towards the forest to avoid the quote unquote avalanche. And okay, that sounds
could happen.
Plausible.
Could happen.
Yeah, you know, okay, well, yeah. I mean, what would you do if you're camped at the bottom of the mountain and an avalanche springs? Yeah, you're gonna take off and however you are.
Doesn't matter. You don't have your shoes on.
Right,
bye.
exactly.
Let's go.
The problem I have with this theory is the search team that found them almost a month later. Found the campsite almost a month later. And yet they found them because they found the tent.
Okay. After an avalanche.
And they found the bodies because they found the tracks where they all ran to the creek, right?
Right.
If an avalanche is the theory, then wouldn't the tent be buried under the avalanche? Wouldn't the tracks have been covered by the snow?
Right. How would that have been preserved? Like, that doesn't... What?
Exactly.
What?
So I personally don't feel like that's what happened. I don't know what happened. But.
Well, obviously we don't know what happened exactly, but what do you feel intuitively and from a more metaphysical point of view? What do you think could have happened considering the history of this site?
all I can say is, so something forced them out of the tent and out of the camp and into the forest. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And for a long time, that was the official thing. It was like an unknown force, whatever. That's how they phrased it or whatever. And I feel like something came upon them, or someone, maybe people. I don't know. It could have been people, could have been aliens, it could have been anything. And they started to attack them. And they started to kill them and mutilate them, and I don't know. It could have been all kinds of things. I don't really have because anything could really,
yeah.
You can kind of make anything fit in this situation. For sure,
right.
Because of the unknown. The big thing is that during the time when it was happening, the Russian government was like, stop investigating this. It's done. Buried.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sounds very much like them. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Which is why it went unsolved for so long. And in 2019, they opened up an investigation again because people wouldn't let it go, And so now I feel like this quote unquote solution or these new findings are a way to say, okay, we found the solutions. Let's stop talking about this.
No, we're not going to stop talking about it because it don't make sense. If a professional can come and tell me exactly how those footprints were preserved, the tent was preserved under an avalanche, which is a bunch of fucking snow and ice. How? Yeah. If you can come and explain that to me, okay, I'll believe you. I'll whatever. Move on.
Because, that's what an avalanche is. An avalanche is the snow falls, and it covers everything. Mm-hmm. It covers a blanket of snow, especially at the bottom of the mountain. That's where it ends.
Wow.
So how were they able to see tracks some months later? And it's still snowing. It's freaking January.
So those tracks couldn't have been preserved. They would have been under a shit ton of snow.
Right.
And it would have been flat.
Right.
Like it would have been all flat.
Right. So
No.
So this is another death mountain or something was what they call it. Another place where the locals know we don't go here. This is an evil place. Weird things happen. This is just one of the most popular mysteries that have happened in this place, but it's not the only one.
Oh, there's more?
There's more. I read on them a long time ago, but I don't remember that much to recall them and talk about it in an accurate way.
But the fact that there's more just tells me there's more to this than I think people realize. And the fact that the government was kind of like, hush, hush, doesn't matter, put it aside.
And the big thing, and the reason why the most of the ufologists lean to UFO activities because there is a lot of UFO sightings in this area by local people. Yeah.
Okay, well, if you look at it from a ancient alien or UFO type of view, we do know that there has been cases where, quote unquote aliens or beings from other dimensions have come down to attack or to mutilate animals or people. So if you look at it from that point of view, I can very well be a fake.
Yeah, cattle mutilation has been happening since the 60s. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of documented cases. Many. And the cattle mutilation, that in itself is an episode.
It's crazy.
It is just like they will find the cow completely drained of its blood, like no blood, but there's no blood on the ground.
It's crazy.
They will find them with pieces of their faces, laser surgically removed to the point where the arteries are cauterized, right? And they remove perfect sections of cheek or, wherever, right? The eyeballs are scooped out,
Ew.
Right? Tongues cut off, missing tongue, which is what happened with these hikers. 2 of them were found with no eyes and one of them was found with their tongue cut out.
Wow.
Right. So it does speak very much to it's very similar to the cattle mutilations that we have on record. Right.
Yes.
And the reason why the cattle mutilation thing is such a big thing is because ranchers owning cattle is very expensive.
So expensive.
Okay. A good cattle can, cow or bull or whatever can cost thousands of dollars, especially if you're raising cattle for meat. Right. So this cattle comes up missing or mutilated or whatever, it's a big deal to the rancher because that's money down the drain.
It's investment.
That's money lost, right? That's their livelihood. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to sit here and mess with that and draw attention. It's not a cheap hoax.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So, and it's the same patterns in different parts of the world.
Right. It's not just in tech, because we have tons of stories of local ranchers that have experienced this throughout their years of owning land with cattle. But like you said, there's been many cases where it happens in other parts of the world.
Yes.
We have it in South America. We have it up
all similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What the findings are like drained of their blood, even though there's no blood, eyeballs scooped out, tongues cut out in surgical precision, things like that, like parts of the face missing in surgical precision, like muscle, tissue, like pretty much like if a scientist would go and need a sample of each layer of tissue from a cow or whatever, that's the precision that we're talking about.
So now my question is, okay, if it was the aliens or, non-human entities, whatever you want to refer to them as, why would they need cow parts? Why would, for food, for research, for hybrid programs? I mean,
the hybridization program is always something that is in the forefront for me when it comes to like this type of thing, right? Because they've been hybridizing people, animals since the Egyptian times.
Right.
The hieroglyphics are very depictive of like animal heads, human bodies, and things like that. And so who knows? I really don't have an answer. I'm interested in the cattle mutilation thing, but not to the point where I really dive deep into that. That's not really my branch that I'm like super interested in.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting, just not as much as I find other things interesting.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just fascinating. It's just like, wow. The fact that people still don't think aliens are real. Like, okay, well then how do you explain that? How do you explain that? Somebody please come and tell me. Yeah. Because no.
Yeah.
I feel like
lots of disclosure. We'll see what the rest of 2021 has to offer, but
it's a lot. I feel like I have to cleanse this place after talking about so many dark, spooky things. That was intense. I feel bad. I feel bad for all of that. That's just a lot.
Yeah. And so it begs the question of like, okay, are places evil? Does negativity, negative energy, or can you is a place, is that like that nurture or nature, right? Is a place like just evil from jump because there's already like a portal there? There's already,
could be.
It's a gateway to something else, or is it cursed? Is it, or does it become evil over time because of humanity, because this is a place where we go and dump emotions or do bad things, like the Cesa Hotel,
Yeah.
When it was first constructed, did they construct it on land that was cursed?
Could be.
We don't know.
Could be.
Or did it become cursed, or did it become negative over time because of how much negativity is housed within the walls of that building?
Could be either one. I think it could be both even, because, we have so many places here in the United States that were part of sacred native land or battlegrounds, So, yeah, from the get-go, it could just be a place that attracted...
That reminds me of another place.
What place? What's it called?
So there's this place called Shawnee Camp. I think it was like in the, I want to say 60s, 70s. It was a place like a place for you where you can bring your kids, and there was like a lake, and they had swings, and it was like a camp place, but for kids, right?
Yeah.
Almost like an amusement park.
Where is it at? In the United States?
It's in the U.S.
Oh, okay, cool.
Somewhere in the Midwest, I think. And they would have freak accidents. People would die. Kids would die all the time. Like, I think the first death was like this little girl was on a swing set, and the delivery man was delivering to the concession stand, and when he backed up, he hit her in the swing and killed her. No. Things like that. Drownings.
Just constant
accident after accident after accident of things, right? Or children just go missing. So when they, publicity got so bad, they ended up closing it down. And then this guy that worked there as a teenager wanted to buy it because he enjoyed it. He had positive memories and positive, times of that place. So he was older. Him and his wife bought it. When they bought it and they started wanting to renovate it to open it up again, they started finding artifacts, arrowheads, pottery, things, right?
Oh, wow.
So they called the local university and said, hey,
come look at this.
So they sent an archaeology team, and they came and they started to dig. And when they dug, they found out that it indeed was an ancient burial ground, Indian burial ground.
Wow, that
so
makes
this
sense.
This place is like the inspiration for like Jason movies and the Michael Myers and the Poltergeist movie where it's like Indian burial ground.
Yeah,
during this
like
time.
that.
And they found that place they built that place on top of an ancient Indian burial ground. And so they associate the bad things that happen because the land is cursed.
Why don't we, this is my thing, why are we not paying more attention to this kind of stuff?
Because people don't believe in it.
No.
People don't.
They need to. They need to. Look, they need to. This is serious stuff. A lot of people are dying because we just keep building on top of these grounds. This is not good. Not good, you guys.
But I mean, if you think about it, like pretty much everywhere, there's nowhere where it isn't a burial ground.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, you're right about
all the
that.
people that have come and gone in over the hundreds and hundreds of years, you know?
But I feel like if we could just like incorporate,
if we could just sage the world.
Yeah, like if we could just sage the whole planet or darle una limpia con un huevo a todo el pinche mundo. Like, I mean, Lord, because man, the United States especially is like,
and you know, we're the least of it. Okay, because think about it. We're only what, like 200 and something years old. The U.S.
It's a very new.
250, 270. I don't know what. I remember, right?
It's not that old.
It's from the 1700s, right? But then you have like Europe,
super old,
that they've been around for
so long,
since the beginning of time. There's
been a lot of death and war there too.
And they are such a small area. I mean, they had the plague. They had, all these like historical events where like masses of people died, and like all these wars. Think about all the wars that they've had in England over history. Like, there's no place in
the
Europe
world anywhere
someone isn't buried, or mass amount of people aren't buried.
That's so true.
You know what I mean?
But it's like the intent and the energy that's left behind. Like, I feel like if we could just, like you said, sage the whole world. Yeah. No, there's not a sage bundle big enough for this damn planet and all the people in it. There's not. But maybe we can make one.
Or maybe like a collective, on this day, at this time, everybody in the world light a sage and start saging your personal area.
Yeah, well, actually there is. So back last year around, I think April or March, during, the quarantine period, there was a massive global meditation happening simultaneously. I don't know if you heard about it during that time.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I was a part of it. It was so nice, man. So basically what happened was a bunch of different people throughout the world that are into yoga, meditation, spiritual things, that sort of thing. They were collaborating with people all around the globe to make it so like on a specific date, everybody from wherever you were in the world was going to connect and meditate and basically envision light coming down on earth and everybody to help it make it a better place, right, to elevate the frequency on the planet. And it was
that sounds so nice.
It was it was so intense.
Wow.
So I connected with this guy named 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚘, and he's a YouTuber in Arizona with his wife. And he was doing a live stream guided meditation for this. So we had a bunch of people connect. It was amazing. He guided us through it. It's just the energy that you could feel globally. You could literally feel like, it almost felt like a hug, a global hug. It was so nice because there was people connecting not only here in the United States, in Asia, in Europe, everywhere, all around. So we need to do that again. That
actually sounds amazing. Yeah, I would like to participate in that. And before people start scoffing at things like, what do you think they say? There's power in prayer. Why do prayer groups exist?
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you pray as a group, you raise your vibration as a collective, as a group. It's that much more powerful.
That's so true.
It elevates that much more because it goes from one person putting out this positive energy to a lot of people, and then it almost just like multiplies.
It intensifies it. Absolutely. So they actually did, I don't know who did this, but they had, I guess, a meter or some sort of equipment that basically tests the Earth's frequency. I don't know how they did it. I don't know if it's all BS. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they released it that after, like during the meditation, you could see a jump of the frequency. So the actual energy on Earth, you could see it spike up. And I'll have to post some pictures because it's so cool.
Yes.
I don't know if it's BS. I believe in it, so I don't think it's BS.
No, of course not.
So yeah, it was like, okay, yeah, we definitely gotta make this a thing of like having the whole world, whoever wants to participate in these type of things because it can help. Wow. It can help. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's pretty much all we have for y'all today. We're sorry we haven't been on here in a minute, you know, with the winter storm and everything that's happened in between. It's been tough. It's been tough. But we hope you enjoyed this episode. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, that was pretty much it. I found it all very interesting, and you guys can look this up, Google it, read it for yourself, research it. We always encourage you to do your own research. Course. Don't take our word for it. We're human. We make mistakes. We misremember. So look it up. Look it up and decide for yourselves. Like we always say, we're not here to try to like change anyone's mind or make you believe anything, or we're just putting information out there and sharing what we believe. It's up to you. You're an individual. You have free will. You get to make up your own mind. So, and then once you do, let us know what you think. If you have theories on any of these, if you have something interesting you'd like to share, DM us, email us, let us know.
Yeah. Moment of gratitude real quick before we hop off.
Moment of gratitude.
What are you grateful
yesterday, last night, last night, I kept hearing this like scurrying or scooting on the floor. And I was like, what is she doing?
Jet.
And all of a sudden, here comes Jet. And she's cracking up the whole time, by the way. And I'm like, what is she doing? So I see her come around the corner out of the bedroom and into the living room. And I'm in the living room. And she's kicking around a closed box of Kleenex like a soccer ball.
I watched the video. It's
and she's
so
like
cute.
keeping it in her feet and just like
she did great.
And she's going and going, and then she comes back and she's getting. I've never taught her soccer.
No.
I don't watch soccer. Right? Like that's not a sport I watch. That's not the thing I participate in. However, my dad is a super soccer fan. My dad and my uncles and my cousins. My dad's side of the family, they played soccer all their lives.
Wow.
Right? My dad has a league here in Houston because he doesn't play anymore. So now he's, an owner and stuff like that. And he has his own team and they, compete and things like that. So very, very much heavily. My brothers, which are my dad's sons, they're all soccer players. Like,
wow. So it runs in the blood, girl.
So it runs, yes. And I was like,
little Jet, look at her.
God. And I've never she doesn't get that. She get that from me. She picked that all up on her own.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, like, lo llevan la sangre. Like, it was so fascinating and so amazing to me. And her coordination was so good.
She was really good. Like, when I watched the video this morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's actually, it's like, just replace it with a little ball.
Yeah.
And that's it. She's playing soccer.
And she's just kicking it, like, just
having a blast.
God. And I'm sure there's a name for what she was doing, but again, I'm not a soccer person. I don't know what it's called. But I found that really fascinating. So I'm really grateful for that because she's only been walking for a year.
She's doing amazing.
So she's doing amazing. I'm really, really proud of her.
Yeah, no, she's going to keep doing amazing. I know it.
And it makes me think of like, when I was in the 9th grade, I tried out for soccer and I ended up making varsity team in 9th grade.
Nice.
But my mom wouldn't let me play because we didn't have any insurance. So she's like, no, you can't play. If you get hurt. Like, so I was like, all right, well, yes, there goes that. And I never, and I had never played before that. Before the tryout.
But you made varsity.
I made varsity in the 9th grade. And I was like, wow. And at that time, I didn't understand really what that meant. I didn't understand how big of a deal it was, even though the soccer player girls kept telling me, like, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Like, and they're like, you've never played soccer? And I'm like, no. Like, I just wanted an extra thing to do because I didn't want to be home babysitting kids.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's try this out. And then when she was like, no, when I'm insurance, I can play it. Okay, well.
Wow.
But now I understand. Like, oh, okay.
It's in the blood. It's in the sangre. Yeah. That's cool. Oh, so are you thinking about like putting her like in a little league or something?
I'm going to look into it. I'm going to get her a ball first.
Yeah. See how that goes. Yeah.
Because, it doesn't make the same sound as the box. I don't know if it's the sound that she's attracted to or what makes it fun for her. And I don't want to ruin it.
No.
So
as
maybe just buy her like a little something and see if she, does something with it. And if not, and if she does, then yes, I'll look into something.
That's cool. Ooh, yes, Jet.
What about you? Moment of gratitude.
What am I grateful for? I'm grateful that we survived the freaking week of the winter storm. I'm so grateful for that. Even though things didn't work out as planned, I'm grateful that we did survive it because unfortunately not a lot of people did, so right. I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We're very grateful. We were very blessed. And
yes. One thing I do want to say before we hop off about the winter storm. So during the winter storm, I think it was on Wednesday of that week, Abel and I decided, hey, let's do a little manifestation prayer. And, it's like, okay, why not? What do we want to manifest? Well, safety over our loved ones, and ourselves. And maybe throw in there, like, we want to manifest electricity.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we were without power for like 3 days already. So I was like, okay, cool. So we did a little sigil magic. And if you don't know what that is, we'll talk about it later in another episode for sure. Mm-hmm. But we did the thing. I kid you not, 30 minutes later, power came back on. Ooh. I'm not even fucking kidding. So I don't know. It could be, you know, what are the odds? You know, it could have been coincidence, could have been part of that. Who knows? But it worked. So I'm not mad. So yeah, just want to throw that in there.
Okay, so the next episode has to be sigil. Sigil magic.
Okay.
Because you can't just tell the people that and just leave it at that.
People are like, wait, what do you mean? You can manifest electricity? Like, ¿cómo que es eso? No, yes, we'll talk about that next episode for sure. We actually just took a class with Kat as well, which was amazing.
Which we highly recommend.
Definitely.
If you don't follow Kat, go follow Kat.
Yes.
She's offering classes now and she does them virtually, so there's no excuses. Yeah, she's an amazing instructor, amazing teacher. We've learned so much from her. Check her out.
Yeah, her Instagram handle is Spirit Lady. So it's Spirit, you know, SPIRITLADI. Go follow her, hit her up. She's amazing. She has a couple classes going on right now for Intro to Psychic Development. And this is not sponsored, you guys. We just love her. She's our friend. She's amazing. She's super knowledgeable. And she's been doing this for a lot longer than we have. So we feel very blessed to have her. So yeah, hit her up if you're interested. And I think that's pretty much it for today.
Yes, I think that was a lot.
Yes. All right, you guys. We'll catch you in a later episode. Bye.
Bye.